If you are considering hosting on Airbnb, you need to know what to expect. I am a prior Airbnb employee, probably their #1 guest in the whole world, having slept almost 3,000 nights on the platform and been responsible for well over 10,000 Airbnb reservations since I started hosting in 2013. Airbnb is not passive. Have you heard of OnlyFans? This is a platform that got popular in 2020. And I remember hearing stories. Oh, this influencer is posting 3 stories a month and making $250,000 monthly. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's how Airbnb is. The vast majority of hosts are not making much money, or they're regretting their decision for a variety of reasons, including bad guests, which I'll get into. I would know. I talk to Airbnb hosts on a daily basis, and they're not calling me to tell me how fabulous Airbnb has been for them. Just take a look at Better Business Bureau, Trustpilot, the App Store, basically anywhere where people can leave reviews for the company. I am going to give you a sneak peek into what it's like hosting on Airbnb by sharing 3 stories with you today of bad guests from just the past month. The point of this video is not to scare you from doing Airbnb. It can be great money. It is great money for me, fantastic money. But rather, I want to set your expectations so that you avoid making a bad decision with your money. Essentially, what that means is whatever you think you might want to make, you need to double that. Only then does Airbnb make sense. For example, if your expenses, which are easy to estimate, are $10,000 a month, you need to make $20,000 a month for Airbnb to make sense. On Airbnb, every guest who has a negative experience leaves a review. And oftentimes, if they had a 4-star experience, they'll leave a 2-star review. But only about 60% of guests who have a positive experience leave that review. So what should happen is a negative review should be valued at 1-to-1, but a positive value should be valued at 1.5x to 1, because such fewer guests are leaving that. What happens in reality is that it's not true. So when you get that negative review, it hurts you as a host. And this is the reason why a host's hands are tied, even in the face of when a guest is asking for a 100% refund on an extended stay. I cover that story in a separate video. I want to start with my least offensive bad guest story. You're not going to want to miss the final story, which resulted in my only ever 2-star review. I'm also going to get into the new and improved for Airbnb guest review removal process. 4-star Fernanda, otherwise a great guest. This review lost me about $300, and the complaint was that I didn't have an elevator in the building. Now, while that's true, on Airbnb, you don't have to advertise things that you don't have. In other words, I don't have a pool, so I wouldn't say I don't have a pool. If I didn't have a parking space, I wouldn't say I don't have a parking space. If that's important to you as a guest, then you should look for that in the listing. Now, it's not all her fault. Airbnb's partly to blame, because when she's searching for a listing, there is no search filter for elevator. There should be, as well as a bunch of other filters that don't exist, but sure. Now, in my negative review removal request, you can submit, and then you can submit an appeal. The rapidness of how that process was handled makes me think that I think AI is doing it. Anyways, what I told them is what I told you. Hey, on Airbnb, I don't have to specify things that I don't have, and a guest shouldn't be able to negatively review me because I don't have an amenity that I don't advertise. They were having none of that. That 4-star review is live on my listing now. 2-star Devin lost me well over $10,000, and here's what happened. They check in and they say, hey, one of us has breathing problems. And I say, okay. And they're like, so he needs AC. So I say, okay, have him go to the master bedroom. There's AC in there. He said, I don't want to go to the master bedroom. And so I say, well, I got fans and I actually have a portable AC I could bring in, blah, blah, blah. They wanted to cancel the reservation in total upon checking in. I said I couldn't do that. I got ACs actually installed in all of the extra bedrooms here. He left a 2-star review anyways. And the unfortunate thing is, how far me and other hosts go out of our way to provide extra service, and sometimes we wonder, is it worth it? Do I need to provide daily cleaning like I do? Do I need to provide a breakfast? Do I need to refill the jacuzzi every single day, pay for 24-hour security? I provide a goodie bag upon checkout. I provide an English fluent concierge that I pay because my guests don't speak Spanish. And this last one was crazy. Pretty common on Airbnb is they left me a 4-star overall review, 5-star in all the categories, but a 1-star in value. It just doesn't make sense. On top of that, they left something in my unit. I shipped it back internationally, no charge, and that review is live still, unfortunately. These 3 reviews, there's a couple other stores to be honest, they have hurt my listing tremendously. Now it's short term, it's going to hurt my listing for 2 or 3 months, but it does really, really hurt. It's not just me, by the way. Other hosts have a bad experience. You read this all over forums. I watched that video literally days ago, and this guy happens to talk about how he literally hates, it seems, Airbnb. Airbnb, I know you're watching. Don't be shy. Reach out. I am hard on you, but I am fair. I have a long list, over a decade's worth of ideas on how to make the platform better on mobile, on desktop, for the guest, for the host, improving the user experience, and more. Now, there's another problem with Airbnb, and hosts have noticed that guests have gotten worse over the years, and I agree with that, significantly worse. In the past, about 95% of reservations were without problem. Nowadays, it's 80%. That's a big change. That means 1 every 5 reservations nowadays, there is an issue. And part of the reason is because Airbnb is banning for life good guests. I personally know a bunch of them. I have a friend here in Colombia. She got banned for life. She cannot get an Airbnb account. She's not really sure why. I met a Ukrainian girl in Monaco, banned for life. She can never get an Airbnb account. It doesn't really make sense. In summary, Airbnb is getting worse for hosts. They're banning good guests, which I think is a large part of the problem. That means that if you're getting into Airbnb today, you need to double your expectations to make it worthwhile. You thought $5,000 a month would be good? It's gotta be 10. In closing, I want to cover 2 important mindset concepts to further help you navigate dealing with Airbnb guests. The first one is what I call the 10th review concept. And that says that 1 every 10 guests is going to be a problem. And that's the review that matters. So you have to do everything you can to get that 10th review. Nowadays, I need to change that concept to the 5th review concept because of what I said earlier. Now, I want to end with a little feedback for Airbnb. Remember that 100% refund I had to give that guest? You should provide the hosts with that information. How many of this guest's prior reservations has they gotten a refund? This particular guest asked for a refund both times. Partial refund the first one, 100% refund the next time. It's a win-win, because do you think this guest is going to take advantage of hosts in this way if he knew that his future hosts are going to see that 50% of the time he gets at least a partial refund? I want to know the guest's history of leaving reviews or leaving positive versus negative reviews. Let's say I have a 1-night minimum and it's a last-minute reservation. I'm not making much money on it, but I'll do it for the review. If this guest has a history of not leaving any reviews, that's honestly a sign of a poor guest. But also, I'm just not interested in accepting them. That would increase the review rate on Airbnb. That will get the worst Airbnb guests off the platform and make it a more enjoyable experience for everybody, including the company.